You put your foot in that.
Hello, Peal Mae Perkins here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. You put your foot in that. Today, I'm going to be making a 7-up pound cake, and you know I'm going to put my foot in it.
You gotta put your foot.
So I have here 3 sticks of butter going into my mixing bowl. And you want to use real butter, unsalted butter. Don't use the salted butter. It just don't taste right. So use 3 sticks of unsalted butter. Alright, that goes right into the bowl there. I'm going to add 3 cups of sugar. So go ahead and spoon it into the cup because we want to make sure we're measuring right. We don't want just scooping it up and you might get air bubbles or something. So there's 1 cup of sugar, and we'll do 2 more cups here. Now I'm using a scraper to level off my sugar. And if you don't have a scraper, just go ahead and use the back of a knife. But you just want to make sure you get that cup leveled off so that you're using the right amount. Now here's the real secret to a good 7-up pound cake. You want to put some lemon zest in it. The lemon zest is going to bring out that lemon flavor real nice like. So I'm going to zest about half of this lemon. Get half of the lemon zested on into the bowl. Alright, so I'm using my stand mixer. And if you don't have a stand mixer, you can use a handheld. Those work just fine. I'm creaming up that butter and sugar until it's fluffy and all combined. Now I'm going to grab my cake flour. Now always use the cake flour, and I'm going to finish sifting it. If you have one of those fancy sifters, that's okay, but I just use a regular strainer. It works just fine. Alright, so finish sifting that off. And then I'm going to set this to the side for the time being. Alright, so now I'm going to scrape down the sides of the bowl. You always want to scrape down the sides because, and the bottom too, because you want all that to get incorporated just right. Now I'm going to take the lemon that I just zested, and I'm going to juice it because I put lemon juice in the 7-up cake and just give it that burst of flavor. You know, my auntie taught me that trick. To put the lemon juice in the cake. So you'll need to periodically scrape down the sides and the bottom of your bowl to make sure everything is getting incorporated just so, you know. So, alright. Yeah. So you're going to crack your egg into a separate bowl because you don't want shells in your mixture. You don't want shells to get in your mixture. And you might have a rotten egg, you never know. And you don't want to ruin your cake. Go ahead and crack my egg in there. All right, and I'm gonna add the eggs one at a time and then beat between. Now be sure to scrape down your bowl between beatings every once in a while to make sure that egg is incorporated into that butter and sugar cream all together. So now I have my 7-Up. It's actually ginger ale because Walter Lee done drank up all the 7-Up. Ginger ale just worked just fine. So we're going to actually use ginger ale. Now it's time to add the flour and to add the 7-Up. And lemon juice. Oh, I forgot the lemon extract. I'm going to go ahead and put a tablespoon of the lemon extract. Tablespoon of lemon extract. All right, there we go. So now I'm going to alternate my flour with the 7-Up mixture in the batter. So I'm going to put a cup of flour at a time and beat that in. And then I'm going to put a quarter of the 7-Up and beat that in. And then back and forth like that there. So you want to fill your cup, and you want to just tap it down, make sure you filled it completely and don't have air holes in there, and then level it off. If you don't have a scraper, you can use the back of the knife, it works just fine. All right, so 1 cup in there. All right, so you only want to beat this long enough to get it incorporated, because otherwise the cake won't turn out tender. It'll be chewy, more like bread. Always scraping down the sides of the bowl, making sure everything gets mixed in just so. And then you're going to add just a quarter of the 7-Up mixture and let that incorporate in. And then alternating back and forth with the 7-Up and then flour and 7-Up and ending with the 7-Up. All right, that's all mixed up just right. That's exactly how we want it. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer it to this large bowl just so I can put my foot in. Just my foot don't fit well in the mixing bowl. All right. Well, now it's time for the single most important part of making a 7-Up cake, putting my foot in it. Some people ask me, Pearl, when is the best time to put your foot in the food? And there's no real answer to that. Now, for a 7-Up cake, it always seems like you should put it in the batter because you want it to look pretty when you're serving it. And if you step on it at the end, that works too. But it gets all mushed up, and people don't like that so much. So now I'm going to put my foot in this 7-Up cake batter, And honey, I tell you, it's gonna be good. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and stick my foot in this cake. Oh yeah, this feels about right. You gotta put your foot in the 7-Up cake batter if it's gonna come out right. This is just like the cake I made for James Brown, the godfather of soul. I made him a 7-Up pound cake back in 1960.
James Brown. You ain't never met no James Brown.
Oh, hush up, Walter Lee. You don't know who I met and who I didn't meet.
You ain't never said something about meeting no James Brown.
Well, I don't have to tell you everything, Walter Lee. You don't know everything. I gave him some of my 7-Up pound cake, and after that he made that song, Get on the Good Foot. Ah, James Brown. Yeah, he sure liked how I stepped on that cake. And that should just about do it right there. Alright, so now I'm going to spray this pan with non-stick baking spray. So it already has the flour and everything in it. Now, turn the batter out into the Bunt pan. And then turn the pan as you go so that you can get an even distribution into your pan. So, like this here. And then turn it and put a little more into the pan. Like that. Just like that. Turn and fill. Turn and fill. So you want to shake it like so to level it out. And now we're ready to bake it at 325 degrees in a preheated oven for about an hour and 15 minutes. Alright, so the 7-Up pound cake has been baking for an hour and 15 minutes. It should be just about done, but I have a toothpick here that I'm going to go ahead and stick in there. And that's a way to test and see if your cake is all the way done. You'll see if it come out clean. And that came out clean. And so the cake should be done. So we're going to go ahead and pull it on out the oven. So sit this cake on this cooling rack and let it set for 15-20 minutes before I turn it out of the pan. Okay, so my cake has been cooling for about 15 minutes or so. So I just give it a little shake to see if it's loose in the pan, and it is. And if not, I can take a knife and kind of go down around the outside of the cake, nice and gentle to free it up. But it doesn't look like it's going to be any problem with this cake. So put the rack on top here, and then I'm going to flip it over. There we are. And it's time for the reveal. Oh yes, look how pretty that came out. You put your foot in that. Now that the cake is cooled completely, we're going to make up our icing. So I have a cup of powdered sugar here and a teaspoon of softened butter, and then the juice from half a lemon. Don't pour all the juice in there right off because you may not need it all. So pour about 3/4 of it in there and then stir around. And if you need a little more, you add a little more. And if you need a little more powdered sugar, you can add a little more powdered sugar. But this here seems just about right. Yeah, this came out just right. So you want the consistency that's going to allow it to drizzle down the cake. And we've got that there. So I've placed a piece of foil on the counter and put my cake on the baking rack on top. And remember, it's completely cool now. Otherwise, the icing will melt and soak in, and it won't have that pretty glaze that we're going for. So I'm going to go ahead and drizzle this all over the cake, like this here. Oh, and watch how it just glides down the sides of the cake, and it's going to make it such a pretty cake. There we go. Put a little more right there. Alright, look how pretty that is. So now we're going to let it set before we can cut into it. So the 7 pound cake has set, and it's time to cut into it. I've transferred it over to my cake plate. Oh, and it just slices into so easy. Tender. I can tell this is going to be a good cake. Here we go. Let's see how it comes out. Oh, yes. Look at that. Oh, yes. Look at that. It's moist and tender. Oh, I can't wait to eat this cake. Walter Lee is going to love this. I'll put my foot in this cake. All right. So now it's time for Walter Lee to taste the 7-Up cake. Go ahead, Walter.
Well, it's about time, right?
What you mean it's about time?
I've been waiting for this cake the whole day.
Well, it takes time to make a pound cake. Y'all seem to make it. Just go ahead and taste the cake, Walter Lee.
All right.
Yeah.
This right here is pretty good.
It's pretty good. I think it's very good. Let me taste this here. Let's see.
I've been waiting for this all day, and this is what you're doing.
I really taste the lemon. And it's tender, and it's moist. So go ahead and try to bake this cake and let me know in the comments how it come out. You'll find the recipe and the measurements in the description. So go ahead and bake it and let me know how it turned out.
Oh.
And then hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you know when I make something else. You don't want to miss me putting my foot in the food.
Yeah, you really put your foot in this one.
Well, thank you, Walter.
Yeah. Well, you can go now. Try to eat.
Ooh, you're just so rude.
I see why James Brown like this.
You put your foot in that.